Hey guys, what's up? Peekaboo25 here, and I got yet another park battle. It's been a whole week since I've uploaded or so, or at least it's recorded it basically exactly 1 week after my last video went up, which was the look at the past Great America Deceased Rides. But yet I have another park battle. I haven't uploaded one in a couple months. Like I don't think since late September, early October. It's been a while. It's been at least a month. But yeah. Here I am with two smaller parks, but both still kind of have a powerful lineup, some notable rides there. Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri versus Six Flags America in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And here we have the first matchup. Always have the inverts first. I do not know why, I just do it that way. And we have Batman the Ride, which is the overcloned, but still enjoyable B&M invert, and we have a Vekoma SLC. And ask any person, a Batman the Ride clone will easily beat any Vekoma SLC. And this one's regarded as one of the worst because it was one of the first ones created. So 2-0 Six Flags St. Louis. Next up we had the spinning family coasters. Pandemonium, the Gerstlauer spinning coaster, just very cloned, very popular model, especially among Six Flags parks. And in fact, it's one of the most popular rides and to enter the ride rotation. And Raging Cajun as Zamperla Spinning Wild Mouse, formerly at Six Flags Great America. And, well, let me just say that Pandemonium will beat a Spinning Wild Mouse any day due to its layout. Might not be taller, it might, I don't know, but Pandemonium, a Gerstlauer spinning coaster, will always beat a Zamperla Spinning Wild Mouse. Next up are the Out and Back Woodies. I have some controversy alert here. We have Screamin' Eagle, a PTC wooden coaster, and then we have a landmark coaster, Wild One, opened as giant coaster back in like the World War I era. It's insane how old this thing is. I personally am going to give it to Screamin' Eagle. It's overall larger, except for the length. It's taller, faster. It's got an L layout, compared to this where it's just out and back. Well, it might be an L layout. If I remember correctly, it's like up the lift. It's like banks up the lift hill. No, I think it's like out and back with a helix. I don't know. I haven't been on this one since 2013. I also felt. Screaming Eagle's the smoothest wooden coaster I've been in. Front row. It was an amazing and fun experience. I really enjoyed Screaming Eagle. The Wild One was not exactly the smoothest ride for me. So I'm giving that 1 point, just 1 point, to Screaming Eagle. Next up are the GCI Woodies. Even though American Thunder, or currently now known as Cubs Thunder, until the season ended. Go Cubs! No, I'm not. Being a Six Flags Great America home parker, this was kind of a gloating thing. Even though I don't really give a crap about baseball. I'm more of a football person. But we have American Thunder, Cubs Thunder, Evel Knievel, whatever you want to call this one, versus Roar. And Roar was one of the first GCIs to ever open alongside Wildcat at Hershey Park and Roar at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Those were GCI's pioneering days. And American Thunder actually is a clone coaster. It has another clone somewhere in like the Nordic countries. I think like Norway or Sweden, somewhere there. But American Thunder will still take this. It has Millennium Flyer trains, unlike Roar, and it's just a much smoother ride, and it's actually underrated in my opinion. It's a pretty fun GCI. Probably the second best one I've been on, just short of Lightning Racer. And finally, the last comparable matchup, we have the Premier Rides launch coasters, Mr. Freeze, Reverse Blast, and Joker's Jinx. And both of these are cloned at two different parks. Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast is cloned here, where it's painted blue, and Six Flags Over Texas, where it's painted red. And Joker's Jinx is cloned as Poltergeist, not Pandemonium, Poltergeist, at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. They both have the same layout, and you could count Flight of Fear at both KI and KD as clones, except that these don't have a mid-course brake run, unlike them. I actually never went on Joker's Jinx because back when I went in 2014, I hated launch coasters. But if I ever go on Joker's Jinx again, I feel like he'll score in the top 20, but not enough to beat Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. It's an insane ride. I absolutely love Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. It's number 10 out of 75. And, of course, both of these parks has some extra coasters. Boomerang, formerly Flashback at Six Flags Over Texas. It's just typical Vekoma Boomerang, and it's actually it's one of the worst ones I've been on. The better ones include, like, Sidewinder at Hershey Park. That's a better Vekoma Boomerang. Ninja, a Vekoma Custom Looper. River King Mine Train and Aerodynamics Mine Train. One of the older ones. Actually an enjoyable mine train. It's kind of smooth for a mine train. And the Boss, a very large CCI terrain coaster that's unbearably rough for me. And each of those will only be worth 1 point. Next up, we have Six Flags America's extra coasters, which actually give them points on the board, because they haven't scored a single point before this. They have Batwing, a Vekoma Flying Dutchman, Great Chase, a kiddie coaster, just half a point there. Superman, Ride of Steel, 3 points for being undoubtedly the best coaster in the park, and being an Intamin hyper coaster, really. And Apocalypse, the only B&M in the park, and it's a B&M stand-up. So out of all the B&Ms you have in a park, it has to be a stand-up. Come on. Sure, it was a relocation from a different park that already had 5 B&Ms. Actually, it was 4, because X-Lite didn't exist when Iron Wolf was removed. Oh, rip Iron Wolf. Make sure you go check out those Deceased Rides video if you're a great American native. Or just love the history of a park. I spent hours and hours of research into that topic, and several visits to Fright Fest later, and just here I am. I had that up, and I hope it does well. Next up, we have the Drop Towers. We have Superman, Tower of Power, and both of these Drop Towers are, I think, 3rd generation Intamins. Superman Tower of Power, however, is significantly larger, basically like 90 feet taller. Yeah, like 87 feet taller than Voodoo Drop. It's much taller, much larger, and it's gonna win, really. Then Six Flags St. Louis has a plethora of flat rides. These guys have a lot of flat rides. They have Excalibur, I can't pronounce it because it's an Italian name, but it's some sort of evolution. It's a pretty rare model of flat ride. Most of them are going extinct by now or are in Europe. It's a pretty rare flat ride. So you definitely, if you're at Six Flags St. Louis, you gotta ride Excalibur. Sky Screamer, you know, it's just your typical Six Flags Sky Screamer during their limited contract with Funtime. Just your 22-story, 24-story Starflyer model. It's pretty fun. Justice League Battle for Metropolis, basically, it was down pretty much the entire 2015 season, and it was down when I went, but, you know, well, let's just hope it'll be back up for 2016 and last a while, but, you know, it's Sally Ride. They don't exactly have the best reliability. And a Super Bloop, Fireball, which will open in 2016. So, yeah. And Six Flags America just has one lone flat ride, which is their Super Loop, Bourbon Street Fireball, which is actually open, unlike the Fireball at Six Flags St. Louis, which is probably under construction by now, if they even started. You know, just a big metal circle with a train going in the middle of it. It's kind of an easy build when it comes to monstrosities like B&M Hypers and like Mako, Valravin, all sorts of things that are being constructed. And Lightning Rod's quite an engineering feat as well. Can't wait to get on that one eventually. Family rides. Six Flags America surprisingly has more. And have you seen anything involving Coaster Studios, park battles involving Six Flags America? I do family rides differently. I don't count the water park attractions. I count water rides, but I do not count kiddie coasters, thrilling flat rides, well, basically any roller coaster, thrilling flat rides like the Super Loop and the Drop Tower. I do not count the upcharge attractions like the Go-Kart and the Sky Screamer, or like the Sky Coaster, whatever it's called. And I do not include anything from the water park. Dry water rides like the Log Flume and the Thunder Rapids or whatnot, the one where you're in a 12-person boat and you're getting splashed around the rapids, and I count those. And therefore, that total will give us Six Flags America at 31, Six Flags St. Louis at 22, Six Flags America has 9 more, they get the 2 points. Simple as that. Prices. Six Flags America being a smaller park, and, well, it's cheaper in everything. The one-day admission's $5 cheaper. The regular season pass is $2 cheaper. And I'm pretty sure Six Flags America is one of the cheapest parks in the chain. It's kind of like the Kings Island of Six Flags. Kings Island is dirt cheap for an amusement park. $40 for one-day admission? Yes, please. If only they did that with here. It's like $50-$60 for admission in our park. At the door. Well, it's like $60 at the door, $50 online at Great America. Next up, we have the appearance, and I will give this one to Six Flags St. Louis. It has a lot of interaction with the terrain. It's hilly, it's got lots of grass, trees, and it interacts well because it's kind of like in a forest, secluded field. While Six Flags America is kind of out in the open, just in the middle, just not very many things. And they have some ugly open plots of land by Batwing and Superman Ride of Steel, Whistle Stop Park, that really just take away from that section. They could easily put some extra thrill rides there, like a flat ride, definitely a flat ride or a small coaster. But you know, it's Six Flags America. We're not going to see anything major there for a while, even though they have been on the growing end lately. So yeah, Six Flags St. Louis, environmental interaction, lots of trees and bushes, and they even have a couple tunnels where you can go through, like greenhouse tunnels with this ivy in the ceiling, and there's some lights, and it's kind of nice for a Six Flags park. Operations. Anyone can beat Six Flags America operations. Even smaller parks like Mount Olympus, Holiday World. I mean, really, it's not hard to beat Six Flags America's operations. It's just not. It's not hard. It's just not. I mean, Six Flags St. Louis, their operations were kind of sluggish, especially since it rained the morning before I went, but it wasn't raining while the park was open. Like the Boss, one train was down because there were sandbags in it, but right after we got off the ride, the train opened up again, because, you know, karma. And the Batman didn't really have the quickest operations. The loading speed wasn't the best, but at least it runs 2 trains on most coasters. Unlike Six Flags America, where the only coasters they'll really run 2 trains on frequently is just, they see Apocalypse running the most trains frequently. 2 trains in Apocalypse, that's basically the only time you're going to see 2 trains. Maybe some Wild One, and maybe Superman Ride of Steel if you're lucky, because I have seen a second train in reserve, like literally off to the side waiting to be dragged in. And it can turn a slow day at the park into a really long queue line because they're only running 1 train, especially on Superman. The line only had, like, I don't know, less than 100 people in it, but it took 30 minutes because they were only running 1 train on it. It was absolutely insane. And winning by 8 points on that bombshell is Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri. This park has some underrated charm to it, just like the entire state of Missouri when it comes to amusement parks, because let's face it, Missouri doesn't exactly have a major hotspot amusement park. Probably their most well-known contribution to the amusement park industry is Outlaw Run, and that's in a different part of the state. This is probably one of the few parks you'll find by the St. Louis area, because I'm pretty sure Silver Dollar City is either in central Missouri or like rural Missouri, or by the Kansas City area alongside Worlds of Fun. And, you know, Six Flags St. Louis, it's underrated, but I feel like it deserves something better. It's a good park in a good populated area, and the state of Missouri can really use some boost to the amusement industry. And how I can make this park better is one thing for sure. They have 3 wooden coasters. One of them needs an RMC in particular, the Boss. Their largest one needs an RMC. It's absolutely horrible ride that is dying for an RMC, like Mean Streak and Georgia Cyclone, even though I haven't been on Mean Streak. And I intend to, because I'm full of bad ideas. Well, see you guys with that review in 2016. But yeah, this has been Peak Water 25. This has been a park battle between Six Flags America and Six Flags St. Louis. Six Flags St. Louis comes out on top. And as always, guys, just peace out. Just peace.